from Mary Brown. She never lost her cool, even under difficult circumstances. Oftentimes it was Sandy teaching the professionals at Bank Street the best approach to working with public school staff and children, rather than the other way around. It was a personal and professional honor to work with Sandy, with her high standard of excellence and integrity. My son remembers visiting the house on High Flyer Road in Florida when their bird pooped on his hand, and Sandy calmly telling him it was the bird's calling card. So Alex would not forget this. Sandy and Ken were the perfect couple, always there to support and love each other through many long chapters of their lives. We love you both, Sandy and Ken, Mary and Bill Brown.
That's so nice. That's so nice. Very nice.
Sandy was wonderful company and had an engaging way of drawing out the best of everyone around her. I take comfort in the thought that Sandy and her gentle nature and easy way of reaching out to help other people will help Molly as she helped so many people in the walks of life while she was here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. I remember Sandy especially for many wonderful things. One little thing which I always remember her about, and this is so silly, but when she had her nails painted, she always left the moon showing, which I thought was very unusual. But I remember that was Sandra. Anyway, we will miss her terribly, and Ken, I hope.
I'm John Otis, better known as Twinkie's husband. Sandy is foremost in my thoughts because she brought up these three beautiful men in my life, and Sandy also is a lovely person, and I'm so happy to be here to celebrate her.
Thank you. Glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Lovely little tiny thing, and Ken came every day to visit her. And then after a while she came over here and she was downstairs. I only saw her a couple of times. I regret that I didn't come more often.
And Sandy was really a good sport and good in the kitchen, and I'll never forget her little paper towels that she would not throw away. She would wring them out and hang them up. We really miss Sandy.
Which, something I'd like to share, and I apologize ahead of time, I'm not going to get through this without tears. So, throughout my life, I remember going for summers to visit Grammy and Grampy. And every morning, seeing, half a dozen different newspapers, going through each of the newspapers. And she was so thoughtful, and she'd pick out clippings. Oh, I gotta send this to so-and-so, I gotta send this to so-and-so. So I'm sure there's gotta be a few hands in here who've gotten some newspaper clippings from Sandy. One of those newspaper clippings that she sent me was, at the time, I had taken a couple of years off college. I was working full-time. I was working for a government contractor agency, and we were just about to lose our contract, and I was going to be laid off. And I said, I'm going back to school, but I don't really know for what yet. And her timing was impeccable, as always, because as we were going through that process, she sent me a newspaper clipping about this really great profession on the rise. And she said, oh, you should look into this, and I looked into it, and there happened to be a program for speech-language pathology at the college right in town. So I said, I talked to her a little bit, and it's educational, it has some hands in the medical field, it's all over the place, it has a lot of flexibility. So as I started to look into it, took a few classes, and I fell in love with this field. And and I have her to thank. So I went through, I finished my bachelor's, I finished my master's degree, and it's because of that thoughtfulness that, you know, she's reading the newspapers, reading those 6 different newspapers every morning. She saw something and thought of me, because that's what she did. She thought of people. She was so thoughtful. She was just so warm and loving that, you know, she was able to see something that made her think of you, and she would act on it.
You know, the kids are going to, you know, think you're so prim and proper, the way you speak and all, and she said, but at the end of the year, they were saying the kids were talking like Mrs. Roberts. So many things. But Sandy was so sweet and so, just so refined, and she was just, we missed her and we'll always miss her. Loved her.
Florida, in the community where they lived. I was on the other side of the alleyway, and they befriended me before anybody else did. They always made sure that they took me out to dinner. They introduced me to this lovely young man behind me as a neighbor and friend. Anyway, Sandy and Ken are both so thoughtful. One night, it was a Christmas Eve night in Florida. And we went out with a complete bunch of strangers. And I won't go into the details, but there was something untoward said to me by somebody who was a total stranger. Sandy Roberts picked up, I couldn't believe it. She took my side, defended me. She hardly even knew me. And an entire group of strangers, and she mentioned the name of with somebody that I knew very intimately, and she said, "Oh, I love," and then the person's name. She didn't have to at all. She could have sat silently. She could have wondered what was going to happen. My daughter was on the other side, but she didn't. She didn't, and I will never forget that. She was a defender and never forgot anybody, nor can, and I will always love them. They are of the highest character, the highest integrity, and the deepest kindness, and forever, forever.
Right.
So we love you.
We love you.